Hi, my name is Ingrid Delmonte. I'm with the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I am the Danville State, California Stake Employment Specialist, and I'm also the Stake Self-Reliance Services Representative. Today we're going to talk about effective resume writing and how to get those resumes into the right hands so you can get that first interview. We're going to go right to the church's website. We're going to use one of the manuals from the Self-Reliance Services. So here we are, we're on the Google website. We're going to type in Church of Jesus Christ and it pops right up. I press enter, click on the website, go to the search, and we're going to type in the name of the manual we'll be using, which is Find a Better Job. Click on that, pops right up at the top, and boom, there we go. You can see the front cover of it, and you can actually download an electronic version of it right here. So we're going to click on that hyperlink, and we got it. There we go. If you have a hard copy, we're going to go to page 79, which is about resumes. If you don't have a hard copy and you're using your PDF, it's going to be on page 89. They have to add 10 pages to it. So page 89, and it goes right into resumes. There are three simple principles with resumes. One is it's attractive. Two, it needs to show your accomplishments. And three, it needs to be applicable. So people are going to want to look at it when you are applying for a job. We're going to go right into an example. Here's Josh Silva. As you can see, his resume is hard to read. You can't really pull out the specific skills that he has, his accomplishments. It's also hard to look at. There's a lot of different fonts going on, a lot of different sizes. It doesn't present itself as a good example of what Josh is really capable of. So Josh went ahead and he improved his resume. And now look at the difference. Josh has three parts to his resume. He has a summary part. The summary part has his name and his contact information, his objective, what kind of job he wants, and then it has very easily to read his list of skills. Then in the second section, he has accomplishments. These accomplishments are turned into what's called power statements, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But power statements are very important. You'll be using them in a number of places. You'll use them for your resume. You'll use them in your interview, in your LinkedIn accounts, and in your Me in 30 Seconds. Then you have work chronology, education, and certifications. So right here is the summary. How long do you think a human HR manager is going to read your resume? Some people say 30 seconds, some people say 45. You're looking at about 6 to 10 seconds. And that HR manager is only looking to see if you have the skills that the job application had in it. Now, Josh did a good job of pulling those skills out that he had that the job wanted, making it very easy for someone to look and see, this is a good candidate for the job that they're advertising. One thing I want to point out in here is Josh put his home address. We don't do that. We don't send, most companies do not send mail. So everything is done electronically. Then we go on to the next section, the main body of the resume. And that's where his professional experiences, where he can show off his accomplishments. Accomplishments are similar to power statements, as I mentioned a few minutes ago. But in a resume, you move the outcome of the accomplishment to the beginning of the statement for it to stand out. Let's go to the bottom. Here you have education and certifications. Now, if you have won awards, you're going to want to put that in there as well. If you were newly graduated from the universities, then you're going to want to put the name of your university right underneath your job objective. So you have your name, your contact information, the job you're looking for, the job objective, the name of your university, when you graduated, and if you had a really nice GPA, put that in as well. And then you're going to have your coursework that is applicable to the job. Under that, you'll have your skill set, your experiences, and you're ready to go. Okay, I talked a little bit about power statements, so we're going to go to that page next. Power statements are on page 61 in the hard copy, or if you are using the PDF. Now, power statements. The best way to show that you meet the employer's needs is with a power statement. A power statement briefly describes your previous experience and accomplishments by sharing a specific example and outcome. Think of them as small stories. Other people might have similar qualification, but nobody has done exactly the same thing. So rather than list off generic skills of what you can do, you can use a power statement to show that you've done this skill and this is what happened when you did it. Some people are worried about bragging. They don't want to do that. Well, bragging is something that is said that is not backed up with an example. A power statement is you say something positive about yourself and then you show how you use that skill to accomplish the company's objective. Again, power statements are very important. You will be using them in your resume, in your interview, your LinkedIn account, and your Me in 30 Seconds. All right, now we're going to talk about the scanning software. Some people are not familiar with scanning software. If a company sends out an ad for a position, sometimes they get too many resumes to actually go through thoroughly. So what they do, if they have used a software that they will send the resumes through, the scanner will read it, and if that particular resume has the skills that they're looking for, it'll be shot out and put into a pile that the HR manager will review. If it doesn't have that relevant information, it gets put to the other side, and then you end up with that email saying, thank you, but we found somebody else. So remember, the resume is a very valuable piece of real estate, and you're only trying to get an interview. This is how you do that. Many job seekers ruin their chance from the beginning by not first identifying the employer's needs and then matching their skills to those needs. They just send in the same information about themselves and think the employer will figure it out. Unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. Believe it or not, it's sort of like ordering a pizza. So here's a picture of a pizza. Imagine that you called the pizza company saying, I want a pepperoni pizza. And what arrives is a pizza with everything on it. You're not going to really like that pizza very much. In fact, you may end up throwing it away, which sometimes happens with resumes that have too much stuff in it. Now remember, let's go back and remember that the HR manager is going to look at your resume for 6 to 10 seconds and you want to catch their eye, assuming it makes it through the scanner software. So how do we do that? We're going to skip to page 49. And here we are. This is an example of an ad. Now, Josh has decided to take a look at this ad. He's particularly interested in this job. He's taken a highlighter and he's highlighted the skills in the job that they are asking for. Then he goes back and he circles those skills that he has. Now, the final thing he does is he makes sure that the skill that he has, that the company wants, he uses how the company describes that skill. So in here, the company says support phone calls and emails. Well, Josh may have said something like answered phone calls and did other things. It's essentially the same thing, but the company wants to see it as support phone calls and emails. So Josh is going to actually copy and paste that particular part of the ad and put it into his resume. That way, one, it'll make it through the scanner, and two, it'll show the HR manager he is the exact guy they are looking for. So, as my experience here in the Danville Stake as the employment specialist, I have picked up a few tips that I'd like to share with you today. One, there is pretty much only two kinds of fonts that are really good to use in a resume. That's Calibri and Times New Roman. Pick one of those fonts and run with it throughout the entire resume. Number two, 10 point is the smallest point you should be using on your resume. And that information, that 10 point should only be used on information like the body of the resume or the writing, not the titles, and certainly not your name. 3, your email address and your LinkedIn address needs to be hyperlinked. It's efficiency. It also shows the employer that you know how to use electronics successfully. It takes some time to have to copy and paste. If there's a hyperlink, you click on the hyperlink to email you, it goes right there. Finally, my favorite tip I like to give everybody, because a lot of people don't know this, is you need to send your resume as a PDF. What happens is you have one kind of software. The prospective employer has another kind of software. If you send your Word document to somebody else, it's going to get reformatted and it's going to be complicated to read. Nobody's going to want to read it. But if you send it as a PDF, it will stay formatted the way that you want it to be formatted. Look, this is easy. This manual is terrific. Follow its teachings and you will have an interview before you know it. So you got this. Good luck.